Welcome back to the Off-Grid Homestead. Tom
and Tammy's Off-Grid Homestead.
Episode 67.
Dost thou love life? Then do not squander time, for that is the stuff life is made of. Benjamin Franklin.
Trench, conduit, backfill, and the spring water. Welcome back to another wonderful day on the homestead. We've had some rain lately. Last night it rained pretty hard. What I got on the plan for today is we started burying the electrical conduit and the water line. I'm gonna go back through and I have to touch that up a little bit. The rain caused the soil to settle, which is a good thing. The bad thing is when you dig a trench like we did, it doesn't tend to totally fill in. So you can see here, the trench is settled. I also need to finish installing the electrical conduit. I only did this area up by the home site and I needed access through here, so I buried the trenches. So today we're going to complete putting the electrical conduit in. We're going to revisit our test sample that we took from this spring, which is about 150 feet above our home site here on the homestead, and we're going to see what that test sample comes out, and depending on what that bacteria comes out as, we'll do, if it comes out good, then we'll do the chemical makeup of the samples and see what that tells us. And recently I've been working on the hot water system for our shower. We're going to be using the wood stove to heat the water, and I showed you a little bit of that in the video the other day. And you can see here along the driveway of the road, we still have water draining off of the hillside. That never ceases, that's always running. And I don't know if you can hear it off in the distance. Oh, the other thing is we got I had a sail. was using a sail as a temporary cover in between the Conex boxes. I got that taken down, and then all this stone that you see on the ground, this is all aircrete. We had it up on top of the Conex box, but yeah, this stuff's really light. Off in the distance, I don't know how well you guys can hear that, but you can hear the creek running. Quiet for a second. If you can hear that in the background. Well, let's get this day started and let's have our best day. We've run electrical from the home site over to where the solar panels are, a conduit. Now we ran from the solar array, solar panel site down to here. We're going to tee here. We're going to run one up to the sawmill shop, and then we're going to run one down to where the barn storage containers are. I guess that's the plan. I need enough conduit to run from the trench over here. Looks like 10 feet, 10 plus feet. We'll put a T in here, and then we'll continue down. Works pretty good as these PVC cutters on this poly pipe. So I'm going to measure 10 plus feet and cut that off of this coil. This is 250 psi poly pipe or tube. And that's 10 feet. We'll estimate 2 more feet. Cuts it right off. I'm going to use an air compressor and a vacuum cleaner to pull string lines through this. Need 2 clamps. The double clamps are for leftover from my sailing days. Any of the through holes or any of the water lines on my sailboats, I used to always use double hose clamps. You put them so that they're going in opposite directions. So this one here, the screw, you screw from this side. The next one, you do it so it screws in the opposite direction, 180 out. And that's just backup in case one fails. I was fighting these fittings into the poly tubing. This isn't going to hold water, but it will have electrical lines in it. So while it's not as critical, depending on your opinion, the hammer helps a lot. I was muscling this together. It's easier just to use the dead blow. So again, what I'm going to do is I'll put a shop vac on one end. Creating suction. And then at the other end, I'll use compressed air. And then you almost make like a sail out of a light piece of a material that will flow easily through the conduit. And you blow the line up through the conduit. I had used a latex glove to keep the water out of the pipe. Really, we're using this to keep water out versus keeping water in. Can't forget the hose clamps. Trying to pull this apart afterwards will be pretty much impossible. You gotta make sure you get these on before you get it together. The two clamps, make sure the clamps are opposing each other. You can see that. What we'll do is this one here, we're going to tie it off to the post over there at the sawmill shop. Then we'll connect another one here and we'll continue on down. Right now the water line is in the bottom of the ditch. This is the electrical. In the original video we talked about the frost depth. This winter we didn't have any frost in the ground, but the code locally requires us to go down a foot. I'm putting this piping so that you actually roll it down into the trench. The other way would be way too difficult. So again, I'm making sure that I have these the opposite of each other. cordless tools make this a lot easier. So as I go, I try to hold the pipe down in the conduit, down on the bottom of the ditch. Putting dirt over it, and I'll come back later and finish it. We are running the electrical conduit in minimum 100-foot sections. So we went from the sawmill down to here. We cut just over 10 feet, like 12 feet off, the tee off to go up into the sawmill. Right, so we're about 90 feet from the solar array to the sawmill shop. And then this is where our second piece, it's about 90 feet from from the sawmill shop to this point, which will be the corner of the barn once we get it completed. So I'm going to add another 100 feet, and it's maybe 50 feet to the other Connex box, maybe. So I'm going to put a junction box right here, so I'm not going to connect this piece of conduit to the other piece of conduit. We're going to come above ground, we'll have a junction box, and then we'll go back in the ground again, go around the back side. So when we're pulling our cable, we'll be pulling it at less than 100 feet at a time, where we'll have some type of terminal box. So let's get this other one cut and start laying it in the trench. So again, for conduit, we're using 150 psi poly water pipe. Predominantly buried 3 feet in the ground. We only need to be a foot down. That puts us below local code frost line. And again, where we're living, the ground didn't freeze all this winter. So if we do have a freak winter where it gets extremely cold, we don't have to worry about anything freezing below ground. This yellow electrical cord, we're using that right now. That runs from our breaker panel batteries up to the Starlink modem. So we have to get that. We have to get the Starlink inside too. Eventually, the barn will be coming all the way out to about here. So we used almost 400 feet of 1.5 inch poly pipe. In certain areas, because of the rain we had, right, our trenches started to collapse, fill in. Now I got to go through and I got to bury all the rest of that pipe. Some of it I'll do it with the skid steer. Some of it, like over here, I'm going to have to do by hand. If you try to use the trencher to turn corners, you'll damage the chain and the bar. The trench is designed to go straight back when it's cutting the trenches. If you try to turn, it will wear, take the chain, make it wear more on one side versus the other. If you try to be too aggressive, the chain will try to pop off. It's just like if you've ever operated a chainsaw. A chainsaw is made to cut straight. If you were to take a chainsaw, stick it in the side of a tree and try to curve it, you'll damage the bar, or the chain will pop off the bar. So I went through, and on the side that the dirt didn't pile up as much, I was taking that and I was putting it down in the trench. And we'll go through and get all on one side, pack it down, and then I'll come back later and I'll put the other side on top of it. That's where we are now. So you can see on this one here, the bigger piles are here because the auger on the trencher outputs to the right. Every once in a while you get a little bit that will come off to the left, but most of it comes off to the right side. I can tell you without a doubt, filling in those trenches by hand is back-breaking work, especially if you let the dirt sit for a little while and then it rains and then it compacts. Even though it may have piled it up next to the ditch, especially with this soil, this high clay content soil is a bear to move. Do it all with a hoe. Anyways, we need to go dress up and clean up these trenches that settled through the rain. I filled all those trenches in using a hoe. You had to chop the dirt to get it to go back in the hole. Now I gotta compact it all. Probably have to go back after it rains a little bit and correct some of the settling. But up here you can see where the settling occurred. We went through and backfilled all these. Go through the video. We dug all these trenches 3 feet deep, and I mean, this is good. For instance, the soil collapsed underneath it. Same thing over here. all falls in. So we're going to go back through and fill these in some more. Look at how much, look at this. Look at that. Jesus. I think if you lined a pond with it, it'd hold water. The other day, we posted a video and trail cam caught a cougar. So I mean, here's the sawmill, right? And just on the other side of that chicken coop is our camper. So here's the trail cam that caught that cougar. It's right here. Oh, I don't know if you can see that. There's the trail cam. Oh, there's cougars like right here. It's been 48 hours. We're gonna go back up to the spring. I have the test vial from the spring. Oh, we'll see what those results are, and I'll share those with you, and depending on what those results are, we'll do the water composition test. Okay, we're climbing up. All right, from our home site up to the cistern, it's 116 feet in elevation. You gotta navigate this. Oh. Whoa, whoa. Yeah, so if you're not a four-wheel drive vehicle or animal, it's hard when it's muddy. And then from the cistern up to the spring, it's another 40-50 feet in elevation. So the spring is running through the gulch. The cistern is overflowing.
Oh, that cap come back?
Can you put that cap back on?
Yeah, I will. That's a hike.
It is. Depending on what the results are, we'll
Let's show everybody what it looks like in here.
what?
Can they see it?
I've showed that before. It looks like water. You see it's flowing through here, coming down that gulch.
I just fell down the ditch. You heading up that way?
We gotta go up to the spring.
Oh. There's a cougar that lives up here.
Yeah, but not up here. You got pictures of him down there already.
I don't know, he's somewhere around here.
Hey, he lives around here somewhere.
Yeah.
He travels this, or she does. Wonder how, if anybody knows from a game cam if you could tell if it's male or female, respond.
Probably girl.
So we've got cats on the game cam or trail cam.
Bears.
The bears.
I got something last night with
Owls.
a fluffy tail. We had a fluffy tail thing, but I don't know if it was a fox or a coyote.
Yeah, they're
So I moved the camera a little bit.
coyotes, foxes. I think in Oregon too, aren't there wolves?
No, we got farther east. Toipo. Here. He come with us.
Yeah.
He's full of energy.
Yep, what's beside him?
I have no clue. We went to go look for the goats. He's hurting.
This is quite the hike up here.
Yeah, it is. Keep your heart healthy. Polly. Popo. Come on, go. Oh. Oh no, he doesn't go sleep.
So what happens with this spring is this gulch. You see the beginning of it. I'll show you. You see the beginning of it. It's like the soil eroded from the inside out. In the summer, you be careful up here. 'Cause first time I came up here, there was a rattlesnake. I didn't have regular shoes on, so I was wearing like flip-flops. It looks like something travels through there.
Yeah,
See
but
it?
I'm not gonna, but I'm not setting a webcam up here because then I'll have to come here today.
So now we're at the spring. We're at the spring. There's a mushroom over here. We're at the spring. Ooh. Oh, you guys can see this. Oh. So, yeah. Look behind me there. You see where the soil, it looks like somebody took a backhoe and took a big chunk of the earth out. but that's where this water is coming up from. You can hear it. It's flowing. There's like a trench here. And then we took the water sample from down here. These mushrooms, tops of them look like a orange. You gonna walk in there?
No. I'm gonna.
I should have taken a sample from right there.
I'm gonna look for gold. Are you gonna take a sample? I wasn't sure of it.
Oh, I already got a sample. Well, I'm gonna take a water content sample for lead and that type of stuff. Oh. So this is where we took our sample from.
I'll go hold that one. Poseidon, don't drink that. Drink it home.
We got our water sample bottle. If the water stays yellow, there's no trace of bacteria or harmful bacteria in the water. What color is the water?
That's yellow.
Yellow. So it says that for bacteria, E. coli and such, it's not present in this water. And we're about, what, 25 feet from the mouth of the spring. So this, as far as E. coli goes, this water's good. Now the only thing we're concerned about is lead and arsenic and anything else that's harmful.
Venom from the rattlesnake.
Oh, okay. If this is good, that means our cistern is contaminated.
Could have a dead rat in it.
Well, we did a bacteria test at the cistern and that came back bad. So this tests for pH, hardness, hydrogen sulfide, iron, copper, lead, manganese, chlorine, there's no chlorine up there, mercury, nitrate, so nitrate, nitrite, so you know that's ammonia sources being broken down by bacteria. Sulfate, zinc, fluoride, no fluoride up here, sodium chloride, and the alkalinity. Oh, I got the test vial. So I'll take some water and I'll rinse this out a few times. The water. So you're supposed to dunk this in the water. Submerge it. Take it off. And leave it. pH is 6.0. Hardness 50
You want me to see it?
parts per million. Hydrogen sulfide 0. Iron 0. Copper 0. lead 0, manganese 0, chlorine 0, mercury 0, nitrate 0, nitrite 0, sulfate, (400 parts per million), zinc 0, fluoride 0, sodium chloride 0, alkalinity 80 parts per million. So it looks like we need to clean
The cistern.
the cistern.
We'll have to empty it.
See, that's good.
What?
Nothing. That's good.
Alrighty.
So that was a surprising outcome. I think our next course of action is I'm going to drain the cistern. We'll clean it out. I'll probably shock it. I'll shock it. We'll drain the water out of it and we'll fill it back up, and we'll shock it and see if it holds some clean water. I'm going to drain it to see if there's anything in there, but I'm not going to retest that water right away from the spring. I'm going to give it a little while. I wonder if that water changes as the year progresses. Right now we got high flow. I know that spring's good year round and it fills that cistern up daily. And yeah, good news. Today was a very productive day. We finished up the conduit and the water, the ditches. We filled the ditches back in. We got the results for the spring. Very promising results. The water doesn't have any bacteria in it, which is very, very, very promising. So we have a little bit more work to do there. Be nice to be able to use some of that water, especially when you're operating at 53 psi without a pump. Make sure you have your best day.